And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And, you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Move his chair. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go. Up. Hawkeye's here. We ready?
Okay, we are watching live at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, where former President Trump was speaking on the stage.
So what happened? Is he alive? We don't know. Wait, no, he's standing up there now. Everybody I know has seen these images for the last week on the internet. They're literally the most famous images in the world right now.
And will be for a very long time. I'm still in a bit of shock. Not that somebody took a shot at him, because people have been predicting that for a while. I mean, the hateful rhetoric for years, that shouldn't surprise anybody. You know, the details about who did it and how it was organized pale in comparison to that iconic photo. Everything. Well, the fact that he got up and did that is, I mean, I respect the guy. I like him. I voted for him last time he was president.
I've got
even
the
if
hat.
I didn't, but even if I didn't, I would be like, wow. I mean, that's what people were talking about on social media. It's like, wow, he did that. You know, it was. I'm still flabbergasted that he did that. It was selfless. What he did was selfless. It's overly cynical, and I'm a cynical person. To say that he did this for a photo op. He did this, and I knew what he did immediately. He did this to encourage the people there, to let them know he was all right.
Well, yeah. So he's in this one. He's standing up, and you can see him, like, you know, and he's surrounded by the. But then as they take him down the stairs, when we get that picture of him in front of the flag, and I had not. So you know, it was Saturday, July 13th, 2024, everyone. I don't wear hats enough. I'm going to take this off. I'll put it back on later. July 14th. Now I feel naked. No crown. 2024. And we had just, I mean, so this is our McLuhan Mosaic month.
I know. I mean, what are the odds?
Well, it's starting to feel pretty spooky, right? Because, you know, I spent the morning on Saturday putting together our newsletter. Please subscribe for our newsletter. Go to dragoncommonroom.com and subscribe to our
Mhm.
newsletter, because it gives you like important links and references and more of the mosaic that we're participating in our newsletter. And in the newsletter, I was, sort of reminding everyone that we've been talking about this McLuhan problem for like years now, right? It's been part of our long backstory, and thinking through COVID and thinking through what we're doing with Draco Chemicus and the pharmaceuticals and everything. It's like we've been in this mosaic meditation, not expecting anything in particular to be happening last Saturday.
Yeah.
Pete, do you remember us? Do you
Yeah,
remember us on
that's
Friday? We're like, what do you think we'll talk about next Friday? And it's like,
yeah.
oh, I'm sure it will come to
It'll
us.
come to us, right? Yeah,
Oh
it did
gosh.
fast.
I mean,
Like,
I always
wow.
spent.
I mean, this is called the Mosaic Ark, right? Mosaic, tiny, thousands and millions of tiny little pieces of bits of information and pictures. And we were just hit like
Oh
it
my
was like
gosh.
birdshot at you constantly,
All
like
week.
constant
All
images.
week.
And people were creating images to express what they thought about it too. So you
Right.
get like double, triple, quadruple the amount you would normally get in an event like this because of the time it happened.
So yes,
Right?
if you all
Because
are wondering, what do we mean by the mosaic? You've just lived it.
Yep.
This
Yeah,
just
you have.
this explosion of, I mean, light and glass, right? Which is interesting. It was like there were immediately theories that, oh, let's see, the variety of theories that we have about what actually happened started with, no, he was not hit with a bullet, it was glass, right? He was, which
Oh,
which would be sort of poetically appropriate if it, like the bullet went through his teleprompter, and I don't know, and the glass shattered, and he's nicked in the ear by the
Look,
mosaic
they were
itself, right?
desperate. They were desperate to say he wasn't shot with a bullet. They were desperate
Oh,
because that makes him look heroic.
yes.
He got cut by some glass, makes him look pathetic. It makes him look like somebody we're not going to name right now. No, he took a bullet. Look, he took a bullet.
Well, but it's
That's
I mean, it's interesting
badass.
though that some people, there was serious theorizing that he wasn't even hit by anything, that it was all makeup.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right. And that, he when he went like this, you all just watched the shot again, right? And you also just watched how long it was. I mean, we've been looking at the image on screen now with him, heroically, frankly, heroically saying fight, fight,
Yes.
fight. In his signature, he makes this fist thing all the time. So I have
Yeah.
zero trouble thinking that, that's what he defaulted to when he was like hurt, right? It's like,
Yeah.
fight, right? He
Well,
uses that
yeah.
fist all the time. That's his.
Well, he's in his element. He's on stage and he's got adrenaline
Oh
rushing
gosh,
through him.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was just
I had my ear
I
pierced.
all
Do you
benefited
see?
from
Do you
it.
see? I've got a little piercing there. Just getting that. You know what happened when I got that? I should get a better ring, like diamond for it right now to celebrate. This was some
ruby.
years ago. No, and it was like with the tight little needle, right? It did not bleed, right? So everybody, I think a lot of people say, oh, it should have bled more. Oh, it wasn't really bleeding. Oh, he scraped his hands across his face with the fake blood and blah blah blah. If you get an ear piercing like this, it does not bleed, right? It's like it's quite quick and right. But it was such intense like endorphin rush from that cartilage piercing that I think I tried to go shopping afterwards because I was just so giddy with like, oh my gosh, it's so it's like you get pierced, or anybody with tattoos knows, like if you sit for a really long tattoo, 5 hours, like I have 4 times, I have, when you come out, your body's been through something super intense, and you're not necessarily in the place where you will be like, I think what Trump must have been later after that evening, right? When they've got the bandage on and he's like, your body must just collapse, right? But in that instant when it's through the cartilage, the bullet went right through his ear, right? So, right there. I went off, I went shopping or something. I totally forgot where my car was. And no, I don't do that a lot. And I was like so giddy. I had no idea what I was, it's like, oh, this explains a lot. It certainly explains all the body piercings, right? There's an addictive element to
right.
that.
I've heard that.
Yeah, no, it's so if Trump starts getting more piercings, we'll know, right? Oh, the rush.
See him doing that.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, the theory about the blood's kind of silly. Anywhere you get cut on the head, it's going to bleed profusely. You're like, when I had pierced ears, but it was through the lobe, not through the cartilage or the bone. And that's just something I thought everybody knew. There's a lot of blood involved if it's rough like that. If you have a small puncture and you've got a Band-Aid there immediately, you're not going to bleed a lot.
Yeah, well, with this, I didn't bleed at
Take
all,
those
right?
elements
So,
away. Yeah.
and people have theorized around that. It's like it bled too much. It didn't bleed enough. They know how to do stage
Yeah.
makes. Of course, it's
heart's
fake.
pumping, adrenaline.
Yeah. Yeah. So he, and that he goes down. It is interesting. Think about that for that 20 seconds or so. I don't know. I've been so in the internet this week. I really didn't, get to look at absolutely every bit of footage.
It's impossible.
How much longer it took for him to stand back up. But in the clip we watched right now, it's like he's down for a long time, and the people are screaming. The women are screaming in the audience, and it is to their credit that crowd does not stampede.
Yes, because they were waiting to find out.
They're waiting to find out.
He knew that, and the Secret Service they were doing their job, or whoever was there. Someone I heard today was DHS, but
right.
They were trying to rush him off the.
Probably.
Yeah, they were trying to rush him off the stage, and he wouldn't do it. He said, "Let me get my shoes on. I'm going to be dignified. I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to encourage these people and let them know I'm all right."
Right.
That's a man.
Oh,
that is a man.
What happened to his shoes? Like, did he fall out of his shoes?
They knocked him out of them.
That is intense,
yeah, they knocked him out of his shoes. They hit him hard. It's like being hit on a football field. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a kind of detail that if you're faking it, would you think of that? I've been watching too much Columbo recently, right? So we're gonna Columbo this, right? If only I had a cigar. And would he have thought to fall out of his shoes if it was a fake?
Yeah. That's a heck of a stage. Right?
Yeah, no, the stage presence he had was, wait a minute, the people saw me go down behind the podium. They need to see that I'm not dead.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is what he said last night when he was talking about it.
He was thinking of other people.
Yeah.
He was being selfless. And a lot of people are not selfless. And those will be the more cynical of our population who said, no way, absolutely no way that happened. Because they're trying to put themselves in this place, and they can't imagine themselves doing that, but they won't recognize it in somebody else, and they need to start doing that.
Right. So we watched a lot of, the different theories of what happened to him online. Have you talked to anybody about what they thought happened? Like in real life, not online.
Yeah, I have talked to people in real life, and they're doing the same thing we're doing. They're being Columbo. Nobody believes he wasn't shot.
Okay, that's
the only thing we're trying to when I'm having these discussions with people, is to figure out how many shooters were there, who was involved, how could they have set this up? We're doing the Columbo thing, just like you and I are doing right now. But I mean, I think it's pretty natural. If it's an ongoing investigation, or at least it should be, it's being done correctly, which I have my doubts about. But they shouldn't be giving any information. So it's natural for people to try to guess because they don't like that gap in information in their head. He was standing right here. He was shot right here. What happened in the middle? Right. What's happening after this point? They're seeing a graph in their head and they're trying to fill it in. It's kind of like when you see those games, those optical illusions where you see a sentence and there's a word missing and your brain puts the word in.
Oh yeah, we want the story to be clear. It's like if nothing, if human beings, if we do nothing else, we make stories about the thing that happened, and then so one of the very first tweets I put up is like, you think you wonder that we don't know what happened in AD 1096 with the calling of the First Crusade. What do you think happened yesterday? Right? Think about how it's like the amount of information, of evidence that we have. I mean, the next one we have is the series of pictures that Mills was taking, Doug Mills, for the New York Times, and that ends up with, so in the first, it's like a cartoon spread that they published, right? In the first one, Trump is just there and the bullet's behind him already, right? And then the next
Yeah.
picture, he puts his hand up, and then he's like looking at his hand, right? So there's a, it's like, how much more evidence do you want of a bullet? Or how much more evidence
Right
could
here,
there
right.
be of a bullet? Oh, well, no, you
Photographically, they
faked
said,
that. That's
yeah.
clearly, why was he there with
Oh, you totally fake that.
Go ahead.
No, one of the first questions I got was, well, where did the bullet go? I said, into the guy who's dead. The person I spoke to did not know he was dead. Right? They didn't know somebody, because this was happening very quickly. This was all within an hour of it happening. Right? So everybody's looking for information anywhere they can find it. One of the most
In one of the videos I saw of the man who died, he's shot by something else, because he's in the wrong place behind Trump. The bullet goes there and he's over there.
That's why people think there's two shooters.
Yeah. Okay. So,
because they're talking about trajectory and ballistics, which we don't have reports about. Right. So one of the most heartfelt things I saw was a video. Somebody was actually in the emergency waiting room. So this is a pretty small town. And so they took him to the nearest hospital to get treated right away. And there's a man and a woman. You don't see them, you just hear them, and they've got their phones out and they're videotaping. They said, Trump's been shot. And the woman is in tears. She's crying, like, oh no, oh no, oh no, right? Yeah. And then when the car pulls up, he said, he's walking. And it was like, it turns to elation immediately. Oh. I know, it's very teary thinking about that poor woman,
It's the emotion around this event. Okay, yeah. So hi, Silent Draco and Fat and Mel are all here. And Fat says, I too am a professional ballistics expert, hematologist, otolaryngologist, psychologist, and sniper. Yes, we've become experts in everything. This is
don't forget photographer. Because we were talking about shutter speeds today too, weren't we?
And conspiracy theorist and political analyst and what else do we need? Oh, makeup expert.
Makeup, yes. Yeah.
Well, when they write those Columbo episodes, he always has a family member who does something related so that he can rely on their expertise. Right?
Oh, my nephew, right?
My nephew does that. Yeah. Mrs. Columbo loves your show, right? So it's this, our desire to want to make the story make sense is in like hyper gear right now, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay, so I was running, those on my Telegram channel will know I was running polls all this week because I was wanting to track the way, because, okay, so this happened immediately, right? It's like we're already talking about how, you can see it how, you guys, if you're not on Telegram, you really need to be on Telegram because it's a wild place. And one of the things that's very wonderful about it is, you think Twitter or X is fast about sharing information and stuff. We see it faster on Telegram every single time.
Oh yeah.
And from sort of the dedicated channels, you can if you're following the different channels, you can get, well, okay, here's this person's take, here's this person's take. It's very clearly
right, the layout is
categorized.
Great. The layout is
whereas Twitter, it's all like within your whole
it's just
stream,
all one scrolling
right?
thing.
So we like Telegram's Mosaic better. Sorry, Elon.
Oh yeah, we do.
King Pavel, we're wearing your livery tonight rather than Elon's. We like the Russian better than the South African. No, don't go there. Right, our feudal duchies. Okay, so anyway, the sort of narrative speculation within the first few minutes, never mind the first hour, was already like. Well, I have a picture. One of the things I didn't understand about the how they got that amazing picture of the flag was like, how did they get that flag right behind his head? It's like, well, because it was enormous, right?
It was enormous. It was hanging from two cranes.
It was just
the angle.
It's like getting the sun behind you or something.
Well, you think this is a stage. They set it up so that he would be standing there giving his speech with the flag behind him.
Right.
So it's not unusual that the flag would be there. It's probably at all of his rallies, I would guess.
Okay, so there's various layers here of the all his rallies, right? But one, it's enormous, right? It's this amazing backdrop that they used with the flag. So it's like probably not as big as the actual Stars and Stripes, but because Old Glory is enormous. But
what do you mean by that? You mean the one in Washington D.C.?
The original flag, the Baltimore Fort flag, is huge.
Oh,
right.
Okay. I can't, I think I must have seen it when I was a kid, but I can't remember
I've
now.
only seen pictures of them doing the preservation on it. It's like it's like
Yeah.
the football field size ones. The,
Oh,
yeah, it's
wow.
huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. So however big this one is on the
Impressive.
cranes, right? It's up there behind him, and
Right. It's the backdrop.
and it's the backdrop. And within, it's like however long it took for the space to clear out, and there's all this debris left on the ground, and you're like, this is where we are now, right?
I am waiting for somebody on the left to say, see how filthy and dirty they are. They're always talking about the left. It's like they were told to
yeah,
leave.
no, I'm sure they left, but
immediately.
this is I think this is of all of our, images, right? This one is a good metaphor for now what we're left with, which is fragments
Yeah.
and scattered trash, and saying, okay, what do we think happened? And all of us, this is, your life flashes before your eyes as you're trying desperately not to die kind of problem. It's like,
Yeah.
where are we going to find the answer to what
That's in my house. Sorry.
what happened in this moment? So I in my theorizing, okay, I asked I when I asked one of my friends, and I have my friends that I talk to in real life are in the dog park. So, the dog park people, right? The people with dogs, right? The one thing we have in common is we live in this neighborhood and we have dogs, which gives me a lot of scope for people I might happen to run into. The first guy I asked earlier this week says, I don't go on the internet. I don't know what something happened on Saturday. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So it's a good reminder that unless you're like on Telegram or X or plugged into all of this social media,
information junkies,
would you even know anything happened?
Well, he does now because you told him.
There, right? So the stories traveling, but the first rule of the electric mosaic is you're in it.
Whether he liked it or not, so is he, right? Because that's where you got it from, and that's where you told him. Right. So there are people out there who say, well, if it's important enough, somebody will tell me. And they're right.
Yeah.
Aren't they? But you got electronically.
But is it, this is our media problem. It's like inside, outside. And this being the problem of the evidence itself, right? It's like everything we've seen, because I haven't been to Pennsylvania. I wasn't there. Everything you and I have seen has been through the internet. Through the glass.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. And if you were in Pennsylvania, you wouldn't get near the place anyway.
Right, but and again, the people there, right? So the one of the memes that's been going around is, remember what happened to the last person that claimed a shooting was staged? I don't have $1 billion to pay whoever, right?
Oh no, yeah. People have been saying about every media personality who said this was a fake and he wasn't shot. He goes, you owe him $1 billion. We didn't make the rules, you did.
Yeah, let's where's the campaign contributions to all the people that, claim that you cannot speculate this kind of thing?
Yep.
Without
That's
harming,
right.
Someone's father died. I think everybody, here's our, suggestion. They've got some funds to help the families of the people who were injured and killed, the fire chief. You guys everyone who's been speculating that this didn't happen, I think some donations are in order.
And I want to say about Comparatore, that fireman who died shielding his daughters from bullets. That is a man. Yeah. Trump wasn't the only one there. That is a man doing what a man should be doing. It's beautiful, and my heart goes out to his poor family. Right. Fathers are irreplaceable anyway. Can you imagine losing your father that way?
Indeed.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is that has to go with it, right? Because that's part of the story. If you think it was faked, that Trump wasn't actually shot, and all of everything that we saw was completely staged for the internet, you have to include these other parts of the story in it. And it's interesting how, sort of horrifically cynical we've gotten about things that we see at all. And I think you and I agree, and we've done an episode about it, and got some attention from the YouTube watchers to say you're making fun of things you shouldn't, and we're like, we don't even know what we're talking about half the time about things that we've seen online. We're trying to figure out whether or not what we've seen is real or not. And that's what, like, where everybody is.
Yeah.
It's like okay, so 1096, the only way we in the present now know about what happened in AD 1096 is people wrote stuff down on animal skins.
I have a theory. I have a theory about that. I was thinking about it just before we went on. I was born in 1967. I was born in December of 1967. So just a few weeks away was 1968. And if you know anything about American history, that was the year Robert F. Kennedy was murdered, assassinated. Martin Luther King was assassinated. So the first 6 months of my life, we were in lockdown of sorts on cities across this country. It was martial law. They called it a curfew, but you weren't allowed out, and you'd get arrested if you were. That's because the riots were that bad.
Wow.
And so for 56 years, this is the first time in my life when somebody says to me, you remember where you were when? And it wasn't Reagan being shot, it was Trump being shot. This is the first time I can say, yes, and yes, I do. And it wasn't horrible for Trump. Obviously, Comparatori is dead. This is very sad.
Right.
God bless him.
Right.
But for a political, Reagan nearly died. He did nearly die. Hinckley shot him several times. Trump was shot, but the shooter missed, and thank God he missed. And I'm vacillating between, elation and anger for the people that orchestrated this. It wasn't one shooter, people. Come on. It's too many holes. Yeah. Everybody can see it. All the amateurs can see it. This is not a Kennedy getting shot with a grainy photograph and people, spread out very wide on a long Dallas street. This is everybody with eyes right on the screen when it's happening. Everybody saw it. And it angers me. The people that did this, what they wanted us to see angers me a lot.
Well, what they wanted us to see. So this is the variety of theories about, like, how did Mills get that amazing shot? A lot of other things that Foundering, the pianist, pointed out on X. Like, why were the photographers there? Okay, so Mills apparently is one that Trump actually likes having take pictures of him. So maybe he was there.
Saw that.
This rally was live streamed. Is CNN live streaming all of Trump's rallies this time around?
Nope. This is the only one.
Only one.
This is the only one. And this is why people are cynical, right? Mm-hmm. Because he's supposed to be dead. Nobody does that. Nobody survives an assassination attempt unless it's like at least they go to the hospital and get operated on and nearly die, right?
Right.
There's no way. There's no way that happens. So I think that's part of where the cynicism's coming from.
Oh, okay. So there's
people don't survive
the layer
unscathed.
Of if it was a serious assassination attempt, the deep state, which is in all of my polls, it was the deep state that won, right? And I gave people lots of options, foreign countries, Iran, Russia, China, Israel. I don't think I put any others in there. There was the cow who was on the slopey roof and all of the other animals that are better able to be on slopey roofs than the Secret Service. Who else did I suggest? Different factions within each side of the political parties, right? It's the DNC, it's the RNC, it's the I've lost track of how many. And the thing is, I was actually just pulling off the internet, except for the cow.
Except for the cow and Baron Harkonnen. So that was my favorite one. But yeah, it's interesting. Lockdown 1968, lockdown till 222, and both of them are bookended with an assassination, but then a failed one, a spectacularly failed one, because of those images they got of Trump pumping his fist in the air and encouraging his people.
Well done. I have this cold that I've been fighting too, so I'm in La La Land.
I know.
With the cold. But no, so I mean, there's was it faked? Was Trump who faked it? Who ordered it? how, the how did he survive? We'll get to in a bit. But the sense of like, why were they live streaming this rally? Why was the mainstream media there when they haven't been? What did they want to have happen? And my throat is telling me that you're going to get to keep talking.
Okay. So one of the theories, this gets spooky, but maybe not, because there's a lot of anger and hatred aimed towards him, is that they wanted a big on camera so that everybody could see it. It was spite. It was absolute spite. So that's one theory, and I think that's a pretty good theory.
So that's
I think it's a pretty good theory.
in my polling of my dog friends. One of the people I talked to today said, that his wife, when she was watching it, they're watching it. They saw it live, I guess, or it came on. No, they're watching television. It came on, that's another way you could see it, that it got interrupted. Right, people were on television and stuff came up like out of nowhere, which would be pretty frightening. But consider all the people who are watching this live stream, and what you want, if they want it live streamed. Never mind was Kennedy, was that a live broadcast when he was shot?
I don't know. I mean, it might have been. It could have been. It could have been the news. Could have been the Dallas News doing that. I just thought of that. I was watching the convention on the Dallas News.
So like they wanted this to happen live.
Well, it's fine.
And we say they because the last thing we believe of all of the polls that I put up is like the 20-year-old who has no social media presence did this all out of his own, what's it? Oh, I'm sure. No. Yes, I can hear you. We don't know who they is, just so everybody knows. We have no idea who they is. I can hear you, but you should reactivate yourself so you can move. Oh, but whoever they are, you need to go back out and come back in so that you're actually moving. Well, I mean, we're not the only ones with tech problems this morning. It's like the airline industry went down like yesterday. Okay. You're still not moving. Okay. Okay. So, what does the chat say? What do you guys say? So, was the photographer? Wait, okay, Fat and Fat. I'm also an expert in the protocols of law enforcement, the presidential entourage, and the USS. Good, then you can tell us what happened. Silent Draco. Shutter speed also includes WS, the photog on single shutter burst and camera body used. Okay, was the photographer. Shutter speed also was the photographer on single shutter burst and camera body used. America just got a new constitution. America, the British colony. I think I'm missing something here. The rare guild principle: pay up leftists. Yes, we should say this. It's like you make us pay for speculating about things that we're honestly confused about in the world of the internet, and if you do it, then you have to pay too. Mel, they're the controllers of the simulation behind the ice wall. Well, that works. Okay. Well, for some reason we've got Casey's still frozen here. Oh, I hear Skype coming back in. I'm sure this is a total coincidence that we're talking about conspiracy theories now. So why is this happening now? I can't hear you now. This is yet again, because if we were like able to edit and stuff, you would see none of this. But because we don't edit, we actually live stream, so that you know that whatever we're saying, we actually did. In the actually we could. So this is a good test. So like, are we performing being unable to keep our connections active?
Okay,
Yes.
is that better?
Are we performing
Okay.
being unable to keep our connections active, or is it all like an elaborate ruse to make
It's they.
it's they? No, but is it on our part an elaborate ruse to make our audience believe that we're actually live streaming, when in fact this is all pre-recorded? No, wait, I'm sure I'm sitting here right now. Wait, oh no. The Mosaic is
You're
folding
just
in on
that
me.
good an actor, I'm pretty sure.
Well, no. So this is. I'll go back to the. I was pulling up the various ways that the news reported. I'll go back to Trump being on stage again.
Okay.
That he is an actor because he's used to being in public, right?
Yes.
He's used to
Half
acting.
a century, yeah. Yeah, he is. He is.
having a
He's-
public presence, having a public persona. I'm an actor, for goodness sake. I go
Yeah,
and,
a public speaker.
a public speaker, right?
Right.
And you know
It's a
that
skill.
it's when I have to stand in front of class. I mean, I actually also have to train people to stand in front of class, or lead a discussion in class and stuff. And there are definite skills to it. You definitely get better at it. You go from being the person that's just hanging out to now I'm in control of this situation, and I have to guide the group and things like that. So this is acting in the purest sense of taking on responsibility in the situation.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, the sort of feeling that he, just because he was able under pressure to respond brilliantly, and that's all I say with my dog park. What the friends, they're saying it could have been live. If it was live, they would have seen his head blown off. And when I asked my friend that, he was like, I've said, well, because he said both me and my wife, we were actually kind of thinking it would be good if he was dead. And I'm like, then you would have seen it happen.
Good grief.
I said I live in a wild neighborhood, right? One of the other people I asked today came by and he said, oh, the first thing I said, my opening was like, what did you think about what happened on Saturday? One of my friends was like, Saturday? What happened on Saturday? She was concentrating on something else. But one of the others was like, I thought he faked it. I thought my first thought was that he faked it. And he's changed his mind since.
Okay, but why did he think he faked it? Why was that his first thought? I'm curious.
Because I do not live in I don't tend to wear this hat outside.
Because he couldn't do something brave or heroic or selfless, because that's what's been said against him for years.
People don't
Right.
like Trump because of the way that the Mosaic has. I mean, this is the okay. So this is why Foundering's suggestion about like why was the live stream media there live streaming it? Because the reason that people in my neighborhood can believe that kind of thing is because they never have heard Trump, or maybe they I can't listen to him. I can't listen to him. He's poison. He lies all the time, and I'm like. That kind of spell casting has obviously been going on relentlessly. I do want to
It's relentless.
say, did you wear a mask? Right? How many shots have you had?
Lost
Right?
any brain cells, did he?
I don't and always, and this is the skeptics version of things. Well, we haven't been able to believe anything was on the media in the first place, so why would you believe this now? They're clearly lying again. I'm like,
It's not rational. It's not rational. So in 2016, when he was running, I had family members who repeated, "Oh, he's Hitler. He's absolutely Hitler." And I was shocked. I'm like, I had no idea he planned on making people into lampshades. What?
well, Hitler. I mean, and Hitler didn't do
Where
that
is this
either.
from?
That's a
No, but they believe that too.
Well, see?
I think they did make.
And that was
one and
Eva
try to
Braun,
pretend that it was-
not Hitler
that it-
himself. But anyway,
Right, that was being manufactured, right, over and over again, right? But that was
Right.
that was a psyop too. But no, they would absolutely repeat it. He's Hitler. He's absolutely Hitler. It's like, what?
yes,
It just
they really know they do. They
now,
do. These are people that I have friendships with otherwise who honestly believe this.
Yeah, I know, and I have friends who are going the same thing with their friends, and there are other people in my family. Now it's a broad spectrum of intelligence and education in my family, but on both ends of that, it's like, we hate him, right? And I don't know why. I think maybe it's personality, but that doesn't quite, I used to think that, but that doesn't quite explain the vitriol.
No,
right?
I have not been able to. I've never
ignoring all the
understood
good
it.
things that he did when he was president, which I know some people that were saying, I hate him. I know they like everything he did. They didn't even want to admit it. They didn't want to give him anything. So they didn't want to give him anything heroic either. Ergo, oh, that's fake. No, he couldn't have done that. He does nothing good. We know that. We all know that. Don't you know? What's wrong with you? Right.
Right. And that's why. So
It's really strange.
the next, we had the way in which the news reported it initially, which was hilarious. Right. Okay. So CNN was streaming it. Right. That is true. Right. Anyway, Fox was streaming it. CNN. They were streaming. It's like they don't want to give him airtime at all because they're terrified if they let him have airtime, if they let or glass time or whatever in the internet. If they let him speak at all, his spell will be so strong that people will be drawn.
His spell. That's right.
I mean, I love this. It's like we can't let him talk because people might be convinced, and it's like, of what? Right?
Of what? Something we don't want them to do or believe.
I'm always it's like, what, he's that powerful, right? All he has to do is
Nancy
talk,
Pelosi says,
and you're going to be like bewitched.
When Nancy Pelosi says, quote, he's a threat to our democracy, unquote, she means it. She means she owns it, not you.
Oh yeah,
doesn't belong to you.
Yeah.
You don't get to say anything. You don't get to do anything. You'll just shut up and take it because it's ours, not yours, and you can't have it. Right.
Well, that's telling the thing. He's definitely, one, he's wealthy. He's friends with all of these people, or he was, right? until he
ran for office.
And that was sort of a puzzle too. It's like, I think I feel like we've talked about this before, but like, I was a great National Review reader for 4 or 5 years before mm-hmm. the Trump announcement. And it like, if okay, maybe he is that persuasive, right? But I never watched any of his rallies. I've never been to one of his rallies.
Me either.
But I was listening to the people who were inspired by him, and I'm like, they're right to be upset. The flyover country industrial area mm-hmm. that I live in. Although we're having the DNC here in Chicago next month, but that'll
be an interesting circuit.
The hour. Okay, maybe we'll have to cover that in another episode. The hour here is somehow our inner circle. I mean, I just see it as the court around the king, or something, right? I'm not sure whether it is. I think Trump is a little bit like a baron who became king, and now they all hate him.
Interesting way to put that. Yeah.
Oh, I live in the Middle Ages.
Envy.
We just live in the Middle Ages. Yeah. There's modernity never existed. It was all an illusion, guys.
Envy is driving a lot of this. Envy's driving a lot of it. But the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, they own the apple cart and they don't want it being disrupted. And he's a disruptor.
Yeah. I mean, it just of any sort. So Silent Draco saying, inclined to think the media was there to replace the Zapruder film, which is the one of Kennedy, right? With HD video, which is we need another. I mean, that's what Foundry was saying, which I do like. He said it was meant to be a ritual, right?
Yep, it's spectacular.
It was a ritual. It was meant to be caught on camera.
Yep. Yeah, it was. And to demoralize people. But we have to catch this. We have to do a ritual. We have to catch it on camera. We hate this guy. He's going to be our sacrifice.
Yeah.
We'll get to demoralize people at the same time too. That helps the spell. That helps the ritual. The ritual helps the spell work. Right? They'll be so demoralized. And their convention will be in chaos.
Oh, they definitely wanted that. The thing is, I'm not. So I did run in my polls, right? So this could be internal to the Republican Party rather than that's the Democrats. I'm not. I mean, it's like this is why it's like, and I'm it's the uniparty. It's somebody with money. It's always somebody with money. Mm-hmm. That's too easy, right? It's obviously somebody with money who can persuade people to do evil things because they promised them power. Oh, wait, where's that story from? I think we did that last month, right?
Did we do a stream on that, didn't we?
One or two, right?
At the Devil's Contract?
Yes.
Yeah.
Raining in hell. Anyway, so I mean, it's interesting. It's like the first thing CNN says is Trump's speech interrupted by Secret Service. Are they insane?
They have
the Secret Service interrupted Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. Okay, that's dumb, right? The next one, I think this one was from the Washington. My cropping is. This is the Washington Post. Trump
democracy dies.
Yeah. In darkness, clearly they write these. Trump, who writes these headlines, right? I bet your AI, fire your AI bots, right? Trump escorted away after loud noises at Pennsylvania rally.
No, the B was on this like white on rice.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
They were
okay, this one is from another CNN. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally.
Oh, he falls, right. Yeah. He's just like Biden. That's another thing they're doing. They're trying to conflate Biden's brain damage with age. They're trying to conflate his brain damage with age. So they can say, well, Trump's old too, right?
He fell.
Don't believe your lying
He
eyes.
fell. He's in the middle of his speech and he fell. Okay.
Poor old man.
Poor old man. Okay. So, but I mean, what's funny is they're undoing themselves because the picture that goes with this one is one of him, going fight, right?
It's absurd. Absurd. It's like the Solzhenitsyn quote, right? It's like they know we're lying. We know they're lying. They know we're lying, but they still lie.
Right. All of it. Right. Okay. So keep going. It gets a little better. The New York Times. Trump hurt but safe after a shooting. Right. What are they worried about?
Shooting.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
A suspected gunman and a rally attendee are killed. Passive voice. Are killed, right? Like, I mean, if you want to know why no one ever knows, like, who's responsible for anything, it's because of the passive voice, which every English teacher apparently tells their students not to use, but they forgot to tell the New York Times.
Because it's vague, right?
Yes.
That they're being purposefully vague because they don't want him to look heroic. They don't want him to be seen as anything other than dead or pathetic. He fell. He heard a loud noise. They pushed him off the stage. Oh, this poor scared old man. Right.
This is why I'm thinking that Mills. I mean, Mills is famous because he took some other presidential photos, right? I haven't looked him up enough, but he has the famous one of Bush getting the news about 9/11. So it's like, how is he always there? And it's like, okay, this is a fair question. I think this again. I'm gonna keep shouting out to Foundering because he just really pulled this. Paid attention. Ask why the evidence is what we have, right? Why do we have the pictures that we have? Not are they doctored, right? But why is the photographer there in the first place? Why are the live streams there? Why was the media there? What were we? And the ritual sense of watch him getting his head blown off was what they intended. Is I mean, the fact of the presence of the media and the streaming of things which they have refused to stream all year.
Yeah. Yeah. He who must not be named, unless of course it's during his assassination, then we're gonna splash it all over every internet site and hard copy paper. Is that even still done anywhere? I guess it is. Show the pictures.
My next one.
Yeah.
Look,
we're gonna put it everywhere so that nobody forgets.
Nobody in our building. Oh wait, so this is Trump. New York Post. Bloodied but unbowed. Okay, the New York Post apparently likes Trump, right? And the thing is,
it's an accurate headline,
guys. It's actually okay for the newspapers to be biased and partisan because that's like, I mean, in England, if you ever, the English have great newspaper traditions, but they have party traditions. Like the Telegraph is the Conservatives, the Guardian is the Lib Dems, the Sun is the Labor, whatever, right? It's like having a newspaper that has a particular editorial position is not a bad thing, right? That's just saying that outright.
But that's not what's going on here.
No. The illusion that the New York Times has none is ridiculous.
Well, yeah,
They've tried to hold that up. It's like
some
the gray
sort of,
lady. It's like we don't take
yeah,
partisan
the old
sides
gray
except on
lady.
our op-ed page. It's like, oh, really?
Yeah, the old gray lady's a senile old corpse. Come on, people, wake up.
Anyway, the New York Post, bloodied but unbowed ex-president, right? Like, there's always some way they can dig in. Like, how about, new coming to be president survives assassination bid, Trump shot.
Right, because they would have said former president instead of ex-president. Ex-president sounds like he's been gotten rid of, like your ex, right? They know what they're doing.
Or not the New
They know
York
what they're
Post.
doing.
Okay, so wait, no, here we have the physical paper. Here it is. I've got one. It's like now we can do the, what kind of proof of timing is all of this? It's like Sunday, July 14th, 2024. And for the Tribune delivers these to our building. Nobody in the building subscribes to this newspaper. It still shows up for decades. None of us have
because
paid.
the ads are selling them.
I mean, so I did do another picture, which was like the insert supplement, which was out of travel, right? It's like we have to do a breakdown on yes, but here's the physical newspaper and Trump safe. Right? What's the point?
Oh, thank goodness that poor man
what's
is
the point
safe.
of those he's safe.
He's safe. What? Yeah, what is that? I mean, yeah, there's multiple layers of like
after gunfire, right? I mean, like truly, the headline writers, never mind firing them. It's too much fun making fun of them.
Actually, I always like the New York Post's headlines because they're funny.
Yeah,
they always write them in a really funny way. But
I think my favorite one is this next one though. It's the Sunday Denver Post. Gunman dies in attack. What?
There was an attack, and why is President Trump's former president, ex-president?
They refused to even name Trump. Nobody will put his name in the headlines. Shooting. This is the subtitle. Shooting considered assassination attempt. Like everybody, you guys, by whom? Right? The considered. It's like
MAGA people.
The passive voice is rampant. The English teachers, you have completely failed. They all use it profligately in the newspaper industry. Spectator killed, 2 hurt. No mention of Trump.
None.
Oh, and in tiny little type at the top, in the red line up there, Trump says he was shot in ear. Oh, really? Trump says, gosh, but the gunman really died, right? So now we gonna feel sorry for the gunman? Which is it?
This is demonstrating very well why I haven't read, mainstream papers in decades. Really, it's been about 3 decades since I had some kind of subscription to a paper. I had a subscription to National Review 20 years ago. Didn't keep it up. Glad I didn't. I don't even read their online stuff anymore after. And it wasn't the Trump thing. That was just like, you got to be kidding me. What, are you serious, people? Right? It was before that when their other author did his famous learn to code. You
Kevin
stupid
Williamson,
losers,
yeah.
and yeah, you stupid losers. What you're complaining about losing these coal jobs?
Yeah.
Like no compassion whatsoever, or even understanding of anything.
It does hurt how cruel the educated are.
Yeah. That's a good word. Cruel. It's cruel. It's willful cruelty. Which makes me think that's what they wanted the super fans of Trump to see, because they're cruel.
Yes. Here you ignorant rednecks bespelled by his lies will kill him in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah. And this is what he actually says. So I'm assuming this is on Trump's social, because although Elon they've reactivated his X account, he's not using it. He's on
He's using his own.
He's using his own, right? Which we will not go into the speculation about what happened with the short on that. Anyway, I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. I'm assuming he's waiting to name them.
Yeah, I think they're. Well, he had mentioned in the convention that they're okay now. They're at a critical condition.
It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America. July 13th. I think I'll keep, it's like, I voted for him the first and second time. Get to vote for him a third time. I have
first and second time for me too. Yeah.
And I'm happy. I am proud to say that when President Trump, officially it was he, and it's officially his signature on the commission that I have, invited me to serve on the Cultural Property Advisory Committee for the State Department, I did. So
wonderful.
I have, served in our country thanks to the president's trust in me through his staff. Obviously, I don't think he knows who I am, but and what was great was, like, the people, many of the people that were on the committee with me, we were all fired after the first year I was on it, because the Biden administration got around to reassigning people onto the committee.
I'm surprised it took them that long. They kept trying.
We got the appointment,
and
then they had to go through the State Department clearance and everything, which took months. And then I was sworn in, although it was during COVID, so I had to do it like at a distance. But sworn in, and then we served, and we had 3 meetings online, and then which the public had to like attend and stuff, so you can like look it up. We did our meetings, and then we got to have one meeting in July 2022 in person in Washington, D.C. Everybody was lovely, a lot of good, spirit in serving our country as representatives in these negotiations for a memorandum of understanding. We advised, we didn't make the decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we were all told we were fired. So I'd be happy to go back on and serve some more, talking about whether or not cultural property could.
And you should.
It was a good committee. You really learn what the United States looks like to the rest of the world through these negotiations that we had with the representatives of the countries, and they're making appeals so that the United States will help them preserve their own heritage.
Oh,
yeah, it was
good. Preservation of heritage is good.
It was a very honorable service. Anyway, I forgot where went with that. Anyway, I was thinking about the I don't get the Trump derangement. I really don't, because
I don't
all
either.
these people who actually like him are really great. They're solid Americans who are honored to serve our country and do so honorably.
I think a lot of it's envy, and a lot of it is insecurity. People. He's a very confident man, and he's had a big life so far, and more to go, God willing. And I think they say he's a polarizing figure. Well, he's not. He doesn't polarize people. People polarize themselves in reaction to him. Right? They either accept that people who have these big lives and these big ideas and they want to do big things, have a big personality to go along with it, or they pretend to be pearl clutchers and go, I shouldn't be talking like that. And why is he so arrogant? I really think it's that kind of snobbery. But all of the media and all of Google and all of YouTube and all of Twitter were aligned by the government against him.
Yeah.
So you had constant propaganda against him. So if somebody had these kind of opinions, like, well, I don't really like his personality, right? That was reinforced and turned into hatred, turned into absolute abject hatred from the constant harping.
I mean, it's ironic. They're actually saying, it's like, you can't let him talk because people might believe him. It's like they need people hearing them.
Yeah.
Hating.
Right. He's got good ideas. People might actually elect him We can't have that. We can't have that. Our democracy can't have that.
However, there are
Can you
these
tell them
kids.
still?
Have you seen this video of these kids? They have a different
Yes.
idea. It's like, so is it Uganda?
I love them so much.
Here
Uganda.
they are. This is what Donald Trump looks like to the rest of the world.
I love these little boys.
I really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
They're literally enacting the scene.
Yes.
Right. And
they're reenacting. Doing a reenact. Oh my God.
I mean, that tells you it's like they see the magic of the. I mean, the reality of the moment, which is what I even the friends who in the park who were saying, you know, he faked it. He's this or that. They had to say, yeah, but you know, he responded really well.
Yes, he did.
This moment when finally the world sees how he responds under enormous stress, right? Not just like
he's a man of good character.
Yeah.
Right? These little boys wanted to emulate that. It's beautiful.
We should watch it again. Let me see if I can play it again. The kids react. Here we go.
I want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
It's like, how do they know? Okay, one, clearly this is the proof of the spread of the internet, but they're clearly enjoying the scene of courage.
They have a hero. They have an example of bravery, right?
Well, so the internet, of course, with the kids leading the way, had some other theories about how he survived. Okay, so we start with Pedro Cantor deflects a headshot from an orc shooter like a fucking Chad. The orcs aren't bringing their best. It was the worst assassination attempt in the history of the chapter, and Warlord Snagrod turned up with his nipples protruding. Very disrespectful. The Imperial Herald. I mean, this is obviously one of the people complain about, you know, he's so theatrical, and it's like so funnily enough, you know, we on unauthorized TV are used to listening to the twinning of Owen and Vox, right? And it's like, you know, Owen's all rhetoric and Vox is all dialectic, and I'm, you know, because I'm in academia, I have to like work on dialectic because like that's scholasticism, and you have to be able to make these logical premised arguments and step through and stuff. And then, you know, and I'm like, actually, get the hat. I can't. I'm voting on the rhetoric, right? It's that people are responding to the rhetoric, and I had this, and that's good, right?
Yeah.
Clearly people do not respond to fake. This is this. Right.
Well, they do. They voted for fake a couple of times. I mean,
yeah, but I think
Obama was an actor. He was a performer. So was Bill Clinton. They were both very good at it.
Oh yeah. So no, Trump's obviously not the only one who can do this.
Right.
Carry on disillusioning me.
Yeah, one of the best. No, you're right about the rhetoric. One of the very first reactions I saw were from the Hodge twins. I don't know if you've ever watched them. You probably haven't, but they're these two conservative twins, these black dudes from Texas.
Okay.
And I just think they're very funny. They remind me of my late brother's sense of humor. So I enjoy watching them quite a bit. But those were one of the first reactions I saw. And it was a very simple sentence. It said, Trump was just shot, got up, pumped his fist in the air like a motherfucking gangster.
Our language is gone this way. We're reading the internet, and look what's happened to us.
That says it all, though.
Yeah.
I know Vox doesn't he likes a clean speech thing, but sometimes you just
Well,
have to
that's
use that because
social
that's the
galactic rather
rhetoric.
than UATV
Yeah.
has its own. I
Okay.
mean, Razor Fist would not survive if it weren't for
Oh, that's true. I forgot.
we're
Oh
on the
gosh,
platform with Razor
I love
Fist too.
him.
Yes, so you guys have to watch
I do
Razor
like
Fist
him.
if you haven't seen him.
He's awesome.
Yeah, we like you, Razor
But
Fist.
yeah, that rhetoric, that really strong rhetoric, it's like street slang, right? But everybody gets it immediately. Now, a lot of people were making that comparison to him. Oh, he's a real gangster, because of that mugshot, which was brilliant. Also, brilliant visual rhetoric, right?
Yes.
He's not going to look pathetic like they wanted him to. He's going to look defiant,
Right.
because he is, and he's got good cause to be, right? But when he did that on Saturday, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that is gangster.
Well, it's courage. It's physical. It's
He's
physical courage and
Well,
responsibility.
that's what they mean by gangster.
Yeah. Well, and that's
they
of
mean
course
somebody who's not afraid.
obviously why the gangster stuff, despite the fact that it's horrific for the families and it's why it survives in the neighborhoods, is because there is actually a positive value in courage.
Right. It's courage and leadership.
Yeah.
Right now they're leading, and the gangs lead people to do very bad things, but it is leadership, and especially for boys who have an absent father, it's a second family, right? So
yes,
they're almost by saying it's gangster, they're almost like, you know what, this is, I think Milo had this right in 2016. I think he was trying to be flamboyant when he kept calling him daddy, right?
Oh,
but I was like, no, he was being flamboyant, but he was actually dead on accurate. It's like people like Tucker Carlson brought this up this past week in one of his streams. It's like people want to know that they're safe. They want to know that dad's going to take care of things, right?
And dad taking care of things is way better than the safe and effective, thing that.
Right.
Your mother has to hold you still to get. I mean, the feeling of, the mothers, I'm taking care of you by having this poison shot into your arm.
You have a woman, head of the Secret Service, who said, I can't put my agents up there. It's a slope.
Now I'm wishing I'd included the cows, right? That was one of the best internet versions of things. It's like, here are cow shows. It's like all these cows climbing around on roofs. It's like, you're kidding, right?
It's like, are you
utterly insane? No, I mean, there are various things. Then I started making a list of things I am sure about, and it's like, one, I'm sure he was shot. I think this is absolutely real, and two, I do not think the women belong in the Secret Service. Ladies, have another job. There are lots of other ways that you can be, badass and learn defense. But don't, men need to be taking care of men in these situations. Stop being silly. It's just dumb. Oh, go away. Okay, so it's like, I want you moving, right? Okay, so right now we have Trump shot by non-friend, took it like a champ. So the Graper Pepes are happy with him. The Babylon Bee is Trump indicted for inciting assassination attempt, which is like that the feeling of he must have somehow set this up so that he's in fact responsible. Did you leave and come back, or you still need to kick yourself out? Yes, you do. Leave. Go away. We're yet again proving that we're doing this live. So Silent Draco, those headlines were TASS jokes before 1989. What's TASS? I don't know what that means. Yes, Mel says it's killing of the king, which is what they wanted to ritually enact. It's like, absolutely. Linguist Bear, Trump has gone from media mogul to rap song inspo to Hitler to POTUS to God Emperor in under 15 years. It's quite the story arc. For sure. Yeah. You guys gotta, just keep with us with it. Okay, so Mel has given us a walrus on a boat. That's a giant walrus. You guys, if you're not in Telegram, you need to be, because it's way more fun. And Okay, that's not relevant to what we're talking about right now. Soviet news agency was TASS. Okay. So Draco, Silent Draco, why were those headlines TASS jokes? The ones that we made, that we read, that those are the kinds of things that they would come up with to constantly deflect agency into some other direction. That makes sense. Casey's left with a wry look on her face. Well, yeah, you should watch. I know you review these videos after we've done them, and you so your iconic moment is captured forever. But you're still not moving.
Oh, it's like,
Oh,
here I
it
am.
has to. Okay.
Sorry.
See, yet more proof that we're
so
actually doing this live. Because would we embarrass ourselves this badly if we could edit? No. Okay.
It's
they. Okay.
They
So
don't want me on here.
maybe. I mean, maybe you could say. And I realize, do you know how like special we are as ladies? That we do the kind of like talk internet that the guys do, right? It's like we have well, okay, all of the unauthorized people like Stefan and Razor Fist and Chuck Dixon and Owen and Vox. Did I miss anybody? I mean, the storytelling channels and things like that. They're all guys, right? And we're ladies, right? And there's Tucker, right. And our guest that we had on, Avita Duffy, has her own morning show now on Dan Bongino's live stream. She's been doing coverage this week from the National Republican, the RNC, the convention. Yes. You guys need to watch her getting the Gen Z version of the events. But otherwise, and her mom, right? She's on Fox and Friends. Having ladies in this particular role is very rare. You think we should be here? Or are we crouching down behind the men?
Oh, it's so embarrassing.
Ladies,
so embarrassing.
It's horrible. Just don't be there, right? Let the guys do their thing. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. She's like hiding behind Trump. With like literally her job is to help him.
So I think she was actually trying to find a way to get in, but she was treating it like it was. I don't think this was going through her head, but by all appearances, it's like, well, I got to get in there. Everybody's in this circle. I got to get in there too, right? And I can hear one man yelling, "Go around, go around!"
Well, okay, but
right?
you don't get that long, right? So women
don't get out of the way.
Ladies and married couples will all know this. There's jokes out there on the internet. It's like when your husband is driving and you're in the passenger seat and you spend all of your time while he's driving gasping because he's not braking soon enough. No idea why that joke happens at all. Men's react. I mean, and I can say this as a fencer. Men's reaction time is different, and it took me a long time to realize my husband knew that he had plenty of time to brake. I would have to. Ages and ages and ages before this truck in the front of us loomed into the situation, because my reaction times are slower, so I've got to start sooner, whereas men do have they can be decisive in ways that we simply can't, because I think what we're doing is like surveying the field constantly, like trying to get all of it in, and they're going wham. It's a split-second decision, not just stay in your lane. Recognize your strengths and recognize their strengths, and their strengths are in this kind of decisiveness under stress. And also we have like the guy who is this one of the agents who helped protect Reagan.
This was a photograph taken, and so there were photographers there in the alley when he came out. They changed protocol for moving presidents from buildings. When Hinckley came out to shoot, right? So they had photographers like hanging around because they knew they were going to come out the alley, right? And they caught. I remember that. I think I was 12 years old when it happened, 12 or 13, might have been 13. And it was played in a loop over and over for weeks, this shooting. And I remember the Secret Service was on top of both of them. They piled on top of Reagan, and two of them piled on top of Hinckley and got him. So it was like they both split up immediately, boom. Like they got him both down on the ground immediately, and then immediately got Reagan into the car and into the hospital, right? Because he did nearly die. right? So whoever was there, the photographers that had been waiting there just to take a picture of the president as he came out of this talk, caught these pictures. And it is quite a picture. It is quite a picture. Like I think it was Fat who said, it's hard to believe that this kind of picture is real. It's like, yes, because that image is that powerful. Hollywood likes to copy that image so they can try to express masculinity on camera, because that's what it looks like. It looks like decisiveness.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing what it picture. Doesn't look like is the wage gap between how, I mean, you can actually hear on our opening video, it's like there's a woman going, what should we do, what should we do, what should we do? It's like, you are not, it's already too late, right? That
what you should do is look for another job. And I don't hate these women at all. They were misled into being put into this position. Women have no business whatsoever doing this type of work, ever. You are putting people in danger. And this is not something I used to think when I was younger, because I thought, well, if a woman is capable of doing it, that's what, 1 in 10 million? It's not a thing.
No, just don't. Just do something else. And if you're in one of those 1 in 10 millions, you'll be really great at whatever else you're doing. Right?
Women have absolutely no business being in combat positions either, for any reason, ever. You're going to get people killed.
And your partners, and it's just, guys, ladies, just pay attention to this. Believe that we actually are women who have some mind of, difficult thought and stuff like that. Get another job.
Do something else. You want to work in security? That's great. That's not the type of security you work in, though. You don't work in the field. You're behind a desk. You're helping with analysis. That's what you're doing. Don't pretend to be Xena warrior princess. She's not real. She's fun fiction, but that's it.
But so it is interesting with the sort of level of what fiction people want to have. So we have, like saying Xena's fun fiction, but there's the men who actually behave well and courageously are toxic or fake, or it's like, so the other versions of how Trump survived are, of course, protected by an angel who's a very handsome angel. For sure.
No. I bet you that's because the St. Michael prayer that was done at the beginning of that day.
Well, we had actually also Our Lady of Fatima. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if you know this, but he was shot on the 106th anniversary of the third appearance of, if you believe it, the third appearance of the Mother of Christ to three children in Fatima.
Right, because it's on the 13th.
She always appeared on the 13th of the month. Yeah.
No, it's interesting. It was the Saturday, July 13th, and they'd had a prayer that morning for Our Lady of Fatima.
Yep. Yeah, it was a Maronite priest, I think.
So this is possible. There's the I think here this is actually meant to be Jesus stopping in the cartoon, it's Jesus stopping the bullet or deflecting it for him. There were other theories, however, immediately. One, it's chemtrails behind it. Some sort or other, I think.
That was funny.
It's like whiz, 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 whiz. It's everything. It's like, who knows what was behind him? This one, this apparently made the rounds in Japan, that it was Abe. Tell me the truth, Sensei Abe, do we win? I spoke to God, Trump-sama, he's granted you the mandate of heaven. There were actual, did you see like videos of is it Abe?
Yeah, that was Abe. He was assassinated a couple of years ago.
But that he was there to stop the bullet in the Japanese version of this. Yeah.
Right. I've seen two. Yeah. Yeah. That one made me sad.
I like the video of them throwing the food to the fish, right? When there was the media got all upset because Trump just dumped the whole box in, and they're like, "Oh, look how disrespectful it is."
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, that's how you feed them.
Oh. And he had 2 scoops of ice cream. Ironic. Irony alert.
It's like everything he does has to be wrong. Well, we decided, and it's like, of all of the theories that we have, that Baron Harkonnen called for this is the most likely. They see it, I see it, the whole galaxy sees it. They want me to lead them to victory. And you know what? I think I just might. Our enemies are all around us, folks, and in so many futures they prevail. But there is a narrow way through, very, very narrow. But we're going to walk it, and once we do, the spice is going to flow like never before. Actually, that did come up in his talk, right? We're going to make Arrakis great again, believe me. The text needs some work, and I think they're trying to do Trump as Mo did, with the blue eyes. And it's like, right. That we are, I mean, what's funny about it is that we are in some kind of, I think the Dune one may be the most accurate, that we're in some kind of battle between the powerful houses of the empire.
We are. There's something, and I think I mentioned this before. During the 2016 election, I was fairly active, just talking on Discuss with just strangers, really. And I had been doing that for a couple of years, happily enough. It was fun, but something changed that summer before the election. The conversations got weird. I couldn't keep up with things that were happening in the news, but the tone of the conversations got strange. And I was thinking about it today. What was strange about it? And I think what was strange about it was too script-like.
Whoa!
And I don't think these were bots.
They were people following a script, literally following.
I think so. I think it was.
Yeah.
Just
So
like
this fits with the next one.
It's not a real conversation.
Me watching leftists who called me a conspiracy theorist for the last 4 years suddenly claim that Trump staged his own assassination attempt to gain sympathy and win in the election.
It's okay when we do it, right?
But the they that we're, it's like the they hate you, they this, they that. And it's like the they is, I mean, it's fundamentally, it's got to be, it's the same people that have always been in power for all of human history, which is the rich. I mean, this won't turn me into a Marxist because he doesn't really understand the bourgeoisie terrifically well. But the feeling that people who command massive resources get to like play the game.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
And that they do play the game. Yes. And that they might kill each other in the course of it. Well, Wars of the Roses were real, even though Game of Thrones isn't. And
yeah, history's a lot more interesting.
Yes, and history is, I mean, this is my favorite. Trump versus Bullet, Biden versus stairs.
Yeah.
Biden's
brush with death, his daily brush with death.
The stairs. Well, actually, quite a few people die falling down the stairs, but
I know, especially when their brain isn't functioning properly.
Indeed. But that it's, I think, I don't know how far into the conspiracy theories we want to go, not tonight and with details, but because one thing that is clear, if you're not of these conversations, I mean, I got to wear the hat, and I got to go to Washington, and I got to be on that committee and such, but, the one strong feeling I always get going to Washington, D.C. is there is so much money sloshing around there. And it's it's kind of like the swamp, like the low-lying land and the water, and it's swampy and stuff like that.
It's literally the swamp.
It's literally the swamp.
Built
it's built on a swamp. But so like the air feels funny, and the buildings are all the wrong size because they're not taller than something, right? Is it the Washington Monument,
they can't be taller.
Or the Capitol? It's
the Capitol. They can't be taller than the Capitol, and that's actually to prevent snipers, ironically enough, I think.
Very interesting. So it's all this this weirdly level city, which I find bizarre living in Chicago with the skyscrapers and stuff, right?
Right, it'd be very different.
Sort of multiple levels and things like that. But regardless of all of that, right, the architecture and the weather and the climate and such, there's something going on in Washington that you suddenly feel, right? It's like more money than you know what to do with, and it's all draining into there from our country, from the taxes, and those people in that city get to decide what goes, where the money goes. This is not a recipe for virtue. I think it's all of the reasons I'm most inclined to trust Trump is he made the money first.
That's true. That is true. He had everything to lose.
Yeah.
Financially, and socially, and he did it anyway.
He made the money first and didn't take a salary as president.
That's right. That's right.
So Mel is saying George Takei claims Trump was not hit by bullet to form. Thank you. Silent Drago says, example of the kinds of headlines they used to make. Soviet man placed close second in decathlon. American also finished.
Oh, that's perfect.
So
Perfect.
gunman died in shooting attempt. Trump says he
Yeah.
claims to have been wounded in his ear. It's like what? It's
One of
so
the
interesting. It's like, why
Babylon
can't they just say Trump shot? Right?
Yeah, one of the Babylon Bee's first headlines was, it's something like a stupid Trump hits head on bullet,
Yeah. Yeah.
Clumsy Trump hits head on bullet.
Well, having defeated the bullet, realized, I mean, this it's happened on the Saturday right before the convention was supposed to happen. I mean, the speculation on like who called for this to happen on the Saturday before the convention was going to start, before they were supposed to, acknowledge the primary results of the party
Right.
choosing him
Right.
as
It's a
the
formality,
candidate.
but it's very, yeah, it's a, well, I guess I'm not finding the right word here. I think it's just a formality, isn't it? I could be wrong. I've never been to a convention. I'm not really into politics like
Yeah,
that.
I'm not sure how
at
the
that level.
delegates work and such like. Well, the thing is, I think it becomes a formality because of the way they've set the primary system up. I don't know. I was
Okay.
like, yeah, that's like whether the conventions were ever the time when you get together to actually hash it out and choose the candidate. I think.
Well, I know it happens beforehand, but I'm going to change my mind. I think maybe it is actually necessary to actually show up with your delegates.
I think you have to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah.
And I saw a little bit of the footage of them going, state by state and saying so and so, our delegates for Trump, right? So, but they knew that Trump was, so he's already, Trump scraps RNC speech after shooting to give new speech not focused on Biden, which is interesting, right? Because he barely mentioned Biden. I think he said his name once in the speech.
That's right. They did show his picture a couple of times.
Since Saturday, aides say the former president is spiritual and believes he has been given a gift by God after narrowly surviving the attack. Now, what is, it's, the convention is wild, right? The first images I saw of the place where they're holding this it was just like, well, we found the mosaic. Here we are.
Yeah.
That's the stage that they made. Sorry.
Yep.
Describe the stage.
And yeah. So to me, the stage, it seemed to be like the screens were like staggered forward and backward and up and down, and yes, it looked like a mosaic, but it also, sorry, I've got gnats in my house. Got to get rid of them. It also looked like building blocks to me, almost like Minecraft.
It could have been designed by someone in Minecraft.
No, I don't think that's what it was. I think it was symbolic of something like a building a coalition, right? Putting all these things together. Everything's isn't quite together yet because the election hasn't been held yet, but it's coming together, right? And it's going to make one picture. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
right,
so
like
I only watched, the only thing I watched like at length was the pre-speech stuff last night and the speech.
Right. That's what I did too.
And we have more pictures for those of you who didn't watch. They used it very cleverly in a lot of different ways, right? It's like some of the layout is there because, I mean, Mosaic McLuhan hat on. This is a basketball stadium. So a lot of what they have, the screens and the seating, they're seated on the playing floor, but also in the stands, the people. But the screens and stuff are there. I think they're there because that's what they do. I mean, I've only ever been to one basketball game at the United Center where the DNC is going to be. And they have those big screens up to project, and the cameras pan around the audience, and the audience gets to see themselves, and they have baby races, and these are very family friendly venues.
It's nice.
They're quite clean and it's not at all like what I felt like it was in high school when we went to a basketball game or something. But so I'm not sure how much of the video display is always there and how much they added.
one of the things they did on, I think this was the Fox station I was watching it live stream. I was like Fox Dallas, was they asked people to send pictures of themselves watching the convention and then they would put it on the screen. And I'm like, oh, that's what they do in basketball games. And I said that before I even knew they were holding it in a basketball
They're in a
arena.
basketball arena, right? So you're feeling, I mean, if you've got your McLuhan hat on, it's a game, right? It's like there's no, this is meant to be a spectacle. It's meant to be theater. Everybody that's complaining about how it's theater, get a grip.
It's supposed to be. It's actually supposed to be fun for the delegates because they work their butts off to get
Party,
there.
yeah.
And yeah, it's a party. It's festive. It's meant to be very social and festive. Yeah. It is like a party. It's like you have to understand, I guess, as a foreigner or even as an American, if you're not familiar with these, even though I've never been to them, I'm a little bit familiar because I have friends that do this kind of thing all the time. If the hard work happens before you get there to that day. This is mostly just a festive, fun time and a formality, but like door knocking, phone, working in phone banks, fundraising, all of that stuff happens for years before that point.
So that's why they're so giddy.
That's why they're giddy. That's right. Yay!
We're here. We made it. We finished. So I've got, because I'm signed up, because my life is so complicated. I get the Biden stuff too in the mail, and their tagline right now is "Finish the job," and I'm like, which job are we talking about? It's like America. What are you gonna finish America? It's like this. Somebody needs to help with their script writing for sure. It's literally that's what their catchphrase is. Not "Make America Great." Once again, I don't know the ones as helpful there, but finish the job.
Talk about tone deaf.
Well, yeah. After Saturday, they're just desperately scrambling to rewrite all their rhetoric, but so blaming it on rhetoric, blaming it on spectacle and ritual. This is where I was realizing it's like. If they hate Trump because he's good at this spectacle stuff and they're jealous, right? They're envious. I mean, I do think that's the truth, right? It's like he enjoys those rallies. Everybody says he really enjoys the rallies. He's really good at I saw that in his speech and also in the way he behaved. I mean, he just got shot, so I suspect he's a little traumatized physically in the sense of your body is like going through, all of the stuff that it takes to get over that shock. But he responds to the audience really comfortably. And that, I mean, as we've said, that takes practice and some talent. And if you're not good at it, you're always going to be miserable in these situations. And politics requires you to be able to, I mean, as far as I can tell, everybody liked Clinton because he was actually pretty good at it, especially one-on-one. He could sell you, the desert beachfront property on the desert.
What's funny is I heard the same thing about George Bush, George W. Bush, that he is probably, well, I don't know for sure, but just from what I do know, he looks like the worst public speaker ever. He was always flubbing his lines. He just didn't look natural or comfortable at all. But I heard that one-on-one he's actually very good, and I can see that.
Yeah,
I saw that a bit when he met with the Queen, and he made an off-the-cuff joke, which still cracks me up when I when I think about it. Right? He flubbed a line. He was trying to give a speech, and it was the only state dinner he had, and it was with the Queen when she was visiting. And he flubbed his line, and he looked at her, and he looked at the room, and he said, "She just looked at me like a mother would look at a child to scold."
Okay, so all of this takes, I mean, and this is, I'd say in academia, we have to do a bit of this, you have to be friendly with the people in your field. You have to, it's like, and it is, of course, irritating when you put all that work in and it doesn't work because people don't like you or your work or something like that. It's also intensely irritating when people who don't do actual scholarship by way of the gab can get advancements and positions and things like that. It's socially frustrating to not be able to persuade each other of things. It's like, what else do we do? But I mean, rhetoric is all about quite literally gaining the other person's goodwill and winning you over. We would have shown you the razzle dazzle thing, but I took it out of the slides.
Oh,
but
later.
The thing about it is watching Trump intensely this week, and especially, in these particular videos, you see what people are responding to. This is him coming with and everybody's mocking, like putting the imitation bandages on. I get why people are doing it, right? It's like you are responding to this person whose courage you want. Anyway, here he is, coming into the part of the convention, the beginning of the convention, when he's accepting the nomination from the delegates. It would be if I could make it play. Oh.
Welcome the next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. There ain't no doubt I love this land. Sing it! God bless the USA.
So that's how its song is supposed to be sung. Not the way I sang it. I was happy. I mean, this is like the ritual has worked, right? I said, when I heard that song, The Proud to Be American, the same guy singing it, Greenwood, singing it 4 years ago, I was sad and I was brokenhearted, and I felt like it would never be true again. That was really affecting, watching Trump with his, why is it so square? I mean, they're trying to be like formal.
I think it must be a sleeve. Okay. Actually,
they should make him have an elf ear. Come on, it's a this square bandage, and he's really quite somber, right? Walking in, like, I think I'm sorry that I haven't watched him a lot in the rallies and stuff before. What would he have been like if he hadn't been shot, right? What not dead, right? We don't want him dead, but how would he have behaved in that moment of accepting the nomination if it had been without the Saturday?
I don't know, because I didn't watch any of them, but I did see a change in him. He gave a very long acceptance speech. It was a very good one. Towards the end of it, I could see he was getting more relaxed and getting more into that wonderful pugilist I always known he's been, right? I think so. I think he did. I don't want to say he was somber. I think he did go in serious. Yeah. Like, it was very serious, but then he definitely lightened up as the speech went on. And maybe that had to do with the things he was going to have to talk about in a certain order, right? I'd have to watch it again to tell, but I definitely noticed a change from beginning to the end of the speech.
Well, so what I just showed, and Mel's saying, "Sing it, Doc." No. You've heard it properly now. And right, Mel's saying the stage thing looks like the Mosaic transition she adds to our clips, right, to symbolize our mosaic in our videos. I mean, there's this sort of breakup and the sort of doors flipping kind of imagery on the, like, what we think they're trying to do with the stage and the multiple layers of. Yeah. I mean, it in my sense, it could look like a bad version of things like the Sydney Opera House, or we have the symphony thing in Chicago, Millennium Park. I forget what it's called. Whose
Oh,
donor, but
I haven't been there, but
the sort of panels and stuff like that. But this, I mean,
oh,
this
I do
actually,
remember that. The faces on them, right?
no, those are the cubes, right? The standing cubes.
Oh, okay.
And then in the same
Been a while.
park, there's the sort of exploded silver thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, probably, maybe this is an ordinary thing that I just hadn't seen before because I don't go to, like conventions or basketball games. But it was striking to me. So when he's walking in what I just showed, that's the Monday, right? So it's just 2 days after the shooting.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So he's still, but I mean, still by Thursday, I mean, it's like you figure he's been there all week with all of the, meetings and stress and such. And then we saw him do the speech last night.
Well, the speech, yeah. Well, so he began the speech. He said, I'm gonna tell you what happened, but I'm never gonna say it again because it's a sad story." Right. So he was, yeah, very serious about it. And I think he was very sad because a man's been killed,
Right.
and 2 others were still fighting for their lives. Right. And, but after he got past that and got into speaking about other things, he definitely, yeah, I think his mood lightened a bit more after that. So I believe him when he says, we're just going to put this here and then we're going to forget about it. Just move on. Right.
It was
Because
good
he's
in
got
the
work to
speech.
do.
Yeah. So so this is,
Yeah.
so we've got the, the general setup and the whole week and the different speeches. If you go online, you see people, they have different displays in the screens depending on what's going on. So
Yeah.
with, when Eric Trump, right?
Mhm.
See, I don't even know there's the family, right? It's like, I'm so not, into the full, like, gossip version of everything. What Milo did run a thing for a while on Tiffany Trump. I mean, so
Yeah.
nobody remembered that she existed.
He adores Tiffany. He does.
And we have some various, thoughts and speculations about Barron Trump, but they're not for tonight, right? But when Eric, he's the manager, right, for the campaign. Am I right? Am I right about anything?
I think no, you are. I mean, both of his sons run different companies, but I think Eric is the general manager of the campaign,
Okay.
the reelection campaign.
That's why he was
I think
there,
that's
right?
correct.
And so he gave a really
Yeah.
nice speech. And then you're like saying, yeah, Trump. The other thing that I say, people proof of what kind of person Trump is his kids all like him.
Yes, you can't, as they say, you can't fake good kids, right? His kids are adults. His grandchildren
And his
adore
grandchildren
him.
love his granddaughter. Gave
lovely.
a sweet speech that now apparently all
She
the boys
really
are
did.
liking her because she's really cute. But
Oh, she's beautiful. Like that whole family is gorgeous. It's ridiculous.
it turned out well on the stage. I have a picture later on them. But that, when Eric is talking about, his father, and you see, it's like, yeah, what was it like having this sense, not just it's Trump who is our president, daddy and everything, but they nearly saw, I mean, Kennedy knows what that feels like, right?
Oh,
Seeing
yeah.
your father killed. The
Right.
girls who were the Compatore's daughters know what. Was his daughters there or his wife?
I've heard his wife and daughter, and I've heard his daughters. So I'm not sure. He has 2 daughters. He has 2 grown daughters.
There your father died in front of you.
Yeah, and
Real
that was the
Lion
screaming
King
I think I
moment,
heard.
right?
Yeah, we heard shots, and Trump was down, and then like a few seconds later, you heard a woman screaming,
Yeah.
and I said that must have been them.
Hmm.
Right, very sad.
Thoughtful about that. So Eric came out, he gives his speech, and then there are a variety of other bits that if you watch the full footage, you'll see Hulk Hogan, Trump's long-term friend, doing his thing.
That was lovely. Actually, I saw him live.
Yeah?
I saw him fight Rowdy Roddy Piper live in 1986. I took my younger sister to go see him. It's the same act, so it was kind of funny.
The shirt tearing is his stick, isn't it?
But the shirt tearing is his thing. He's been doing it for like a long time, and he says, "My name's really Terry Bollea. I'm an actor."
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you. God, come on! I had to give you some. I had to give you some Hulk Hogan, right?
Is that what he said last night?
That was very sweet. It's at the convention, yeah, during his speech.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
sweet.
know. Again, it's like there's certain kind of characters of I'm not that taken by them, so I haven't paid attention.
Yeah.
Right.
It's an obvious act, and I mean the WrestleMania in the '80s was
Oh, yeah.
hilarious. It was just so funny, and the crowd was funny. The crowd was really funny. So it was
Sort of
kind of sweet
clowns.
seeing that.
They're more clowns than I mean, they're not actual competitive boxing, or
They're not
really
wrestling.
wrestling. Yeah, it's
No,
theater.
of course not. No, it's all theater. It's all stage. There was an excellent movie Dwayne Johnson made about that, because that's where he and his family got a start about wrestling. I'll try to find the name and tell you what it is, but it talks about the training that they go through, right, to do these, because it is really physically difficult to do. They're not doing real wrestling. They're doing theater, but it's very physically strenuous theater. Right.
It occurs to me it's like medieval times and the knights doing their theatrical.
Yeah, they're really on a horse, right?
They're really on a horse, and then they really do sword fights, but they're obviously not really sword fighting. It's not real fencing. It's hilarious to me because it's like so real, not real fencing.
Well, see, so you do get it. It that's what WrestleMania is.
Yeah, but I do real fencing, not the but
no,
the theater stuff, people.
Right.
Okay, so clearly we're going to have to do an episode on theatrical fights, right? And there's that girl who does the young woman who does a whole channel, which is way more popular than ours. Maybe if we start doing that, we'll get more viewers. Where she breaks down film fight scenes very well. She does a really nice job.
I took a class just, I think somebody had a coupon, and I took a class on stage combat, right? And it was just a couple hours, but dang it, ever since I took that class, I can't watch a fight now because I can pick it apart and go, oh, the illusion is broken.
Okay, so
the only time
this is good, right? It's like, when is the illusion break?
Yeah, good question.
Right? I think the illusion broke for me with Buffy the Vampire Slayer when I watched some of the videos of her stunt doubles, and then I couldn't unsee it.
Oh.
It's like, oh, now I see, the body's different. It's completely, how would anybody have ever believed this? And until I watched the stunt double, skit parts separately, and I'm like, okay, so this is topical to our theme. It's like, at what point do you see through it? And I think there's got to be a difference between ritual that performs a truth, right? And I say I do a ritual every year at graduation, right? It's an incredibly important truth that the students have done the work that we're honoring them for, and it's convocation, because the university comes together as a body in all our fancy robes and stand still for a bit. That's what we really have to do, because you have to stand still and hand out diplomas and read names and stuff, but the ritual actually matters. So to say, oh, it's just, there's the ritual killing, which is a sacrificial slaying horror, is one layer of ritual. There's whatever they're doing here at the DNC, the RNC, of the lights and the visuals and the music, and literally just all of the people together who are there, as you've been saying, celebrating the fact that all of the work that they've done, like graduation, has come to positive conclusion, and meeting each other and things like that. So, the people commenting, they were happy that Trump wasn't dead, but they were. Carlson said something like this: "He's never been to a convention that felt so much like joy."
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I think I was seeing like the kind of excitement I was seeing when Reagan won his first election as president. The second election, I don't really have many memories of it, but that kind of enthusiasm and look of and feelings of optimism that Trump was putting in his speech, that was very Reagan-esque. That I remember those times, because the 70s, well, they weren't great for a lot of reasons, and people were kind of down about it. And this was his Morning in America campaign, right? And people really believed that he gave them hope. And so I just saw Trump just leave that miles behind with what he did after getting shot and showing up at the convention and the speech he gave. And I think everybody was feeling that was there. I can guess, because I wasn't there, but just watching it, I think you can almost feel it coming off the screen.
Well, and this is
it was kind of an elation.
It's our problem of, the degree to which the Mosaic is this reality that we're inside of because we're online, right? And it's like realizing online has its own reality.
Mhm.
And subsets. I've also been, we've talked about this before, but the different social media platforms have different characters. I said that Telegram, Pavel, we really like it. Because it has
We
one
do.
kind of character, which is different from Twitter, which is different from Facebook, which is different from Mark Zuckerberg was impressed by how courageous Trump was. Just saying. Facebook is now in meltdown.
I
It has to be
know.
meltdown because most of the people on Facebook are still, well, they're less
You have to
likely
take
to
a
be
look for
engaging in
me.
the conspiracy theories. Okay. But
Yeah, you have to look for me because I don't have one. Actually, my husband has one.
I'm fragmented. I'm a mosaic myself of all these personalities in my different subsets. How much it's like it's a ritual. The rhetoric matters. The rhetoric matters because I think. I mean, there were ways in which if we weren't in this because of he's not dead. I'm still wondering about it. I think this was a big show, right? So they must have planned out a lot of maybe he rewrote the speech, and maybe the slides are really easy to put into these projectors and stuff like that. But it's like the choreography, the music, the different, the schedule. It's like, this week long of different meetings and things like that. Everybody, Russell Brand and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Evita. And, they're all reporting when Evita was streaming, she was like, don't worry, there's background noise. This is the Rumble Room. It's like, you could feel like there's lots and lots and lots of stuff happening. Obviously enjoy because he's not dead, as well as, we want him to be our president. But what would the theatrics have looked like if it was just, bombast of, we're going to win and we're going to go out there and we're going to, beat those people that stole the election from us last time. And now it was, we're alive.
Yeah, we're alive. This is more serious than many of you may have thought, right? That's that's underlying it, right? There's the elation of he's alive, but also it's got to be something niggling in the back of people's minds that who weren't fans or who were just kind of uninterested in politics that, there's something else going on here. It was the same vibe I got from being on Discuss in 2016 when I just quit it. I just closed my account. I said, this is just something weird. I don't like it, right? There was something going on. I think there is some kind of war going on.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
This is what we witnessed is the same
blood.
kind of thing of, it's machinations of powerful families.
Yeah. And now it's drawn blood. Right. And they didn't get the ritual they wanted.
Right.
So somebody said they think they're going to try again. I think it was Alex Jones. They're going to try again. Maybe not. Right. Maybe it won't be him, but,
that
it's not pleasant to think about.
It's not pleasant to think about. But it does make his entrance even more astonishing. And the song ends, but anyway, that he's now standing in front of his name, right? And the theater of this is great, right? But the theater of he's still alive.
Very polished.
I mean, it's like, and we are actually happy that, he is our candidate and this is great. And, it's like just, it does actually help that people have, been in some risk and you get to have this joy. Because otherwise all we get is sports, right? It's like the only other thing you get is, our team won in this situation, right? The sort of reality of it could have gone badly, but we won.
Yeah. Right.
War is not nearly so clean and gorgeous as sports or courage in this way. But it's like obviously that men, one, we recognize men need to be put in this kind of situation to excel. Some actual
Yeah.
risk. It's hard to say whether women thrive under the same situations. I mean, obviously we get better if we're like practicing it and stuff like that, but I don't know that we have the same
Different kinds of pressure that women would thrive
right.
under, I think, and yeah, and men would thrive under different situations too. Yeah. Some of that's just instinct.
Whatever that means.
I mean, motherly instinct. I mean, whether or not you have children, if you're a woman, you have
Yeah,
it.
but I mean that's the
Right.
word for saying we're behave these ways and we don't know why. They seem natural, and you know it's like. But we're in this. We're constantly in this world now of okay, one, we're in this unreal visual image world, and we're also in this social world that's constantly saying none of these things are true.
Yeah.
So what do we do with that?
And men can get pregnant. Sorry, guys, you played that hand too many times, too recently. We're not going to believe everything you say anymore.
Well, and over pushing the spectacle of or the pretense, right? So it's been interesting watching all of this. It's like we want the what we want to be real, and this is where I think it's like, so Trump gave the speech. He comes out. He's standing in front of the lights, right? I'm used to seeing the name Trump because there's his building downtown is like labeled Trump. The city there was all sort of hurrah. Oh, they put his name up. Why would he's gonna letters on the building? It's like, oh, there's letters on all the buildings. Get a grip, right? Anyway, so what are the odds that you get to be named Trump, right? It's great. And the stage turns into a backdrop of the White House, right, which was quite pretty. And then he's going to be giving a speech, and you can see, I mean, think in McLuhan terms, the effect of this week started with that picture, those pictures of him, one that amazing picture where he's down behind the podium, and somehow one of the photographers there caught a picture of him through some other people's.
It was through people's feet.
Feet, and he's just like, and now it's multiplied on all of the screens, and you're like, here, it's like it's this wonderful visual of the visual, this repetition of the pictures that they're flowing out into the world. That this is now the reality of is when he came out and was in front of the flag, and now that picture is everywhere on the planet with the kids in Uganda. Playing out the scene. With the replication, it's the repetition, the replication of the images. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it is. Like a crystal.
Yeah.
Right. You can see it in every single corner, every single cut of it.
All of it.
It just repeats.
He also did I mean this is, if you just sort of, you could go through the whole sort of effect of the scene, but like we have him there, he is with the flag picture and the agents, and then that they also had the uniform for Compatore. I'm not saying his name right.
Oh yeah, I think it's Comparatore, isn't it?
Right. That I mean, one of the first things Trump does is acknowledge his loss. And
that was a powerful image right there, because it's standing up as if he could be standing in it, you know. And
they put him on the stage, the
right
mannequin.
Well, it reminded me of like when a soldier dies in battle, when the men want to honor them and they have a prayer service, they've got their bayonet standing up and the hat's on it and the shoes are underneath it. So it's like a stand-in. We wish you were here. We're going to honor you. We're going to honor your life. Right. So it was a vertical display of of how the man would have been standing there and wearing the jacket. It's a very powerful image.
I mean, this is the thing is, Trump, as far as I understand, not having been a watcher of the rallies, he would do this kind of thing with people regularly, like bring them up on stage and acknowledge them. And you said something in our chat last night, saying, showing they're not just a number to him, which is interesting because what you get is the station number on the helmet, right?
Oh,
his fire chief number,
right.
But that, I mean, Trump, he has that. I mean, and this is like, why is this a bad ability? Obviously, because you don't want people lying to you, and everybody's gotten so suspicious. It's like, be trustworthy is a good first step in this. People do tend this. I found this works in teaching too. What's the magic formula for getting your students to respect you?
That's a good question. I always respected my teachers, but
come in with authority and say, you're going to, well, okay. So men and women have to do it differently because we have different presence in the situation. But there's a teacher of teachers. My dog is now snorting. That's my dog snorting.
He sounds like he's having fun. What's he doing there?
He snuffed something up his nose, and now he's trying to get it out. Robert Boyce, we should do some discussion of his advice on how to get over procrastination and writer's block. But he also has some really great advice on, sort of.
I'll get to it later.
There's lots of stuff. Yes, haha. Teachers in the classroom and how, like how well students behave or not. And he studied this in a public state university, right? And the exact same students. So it's like, you're saying, oh, well, people say, oh, you don't have any trouble, the University of Chicago because you're at the University of Chicago. And I'm like, well, he did this study with these, state school students, and the same people would be completely misbehaving in one classroom and completely attentive and studious in the other.
Oh.
What's the difference?
Well, I would immediately say, well, did they want to be in one class more than the other?
No, it didn't. It didn't seem to be affected by the topic. Yeah, it's very interesting. He said it's the one in which the teachers respect the students.
Sure.
You set up the expectation, and it's like it's beginning, training teachers, right? If you go in with a lot of rules and you say, I'm going to penalize you for this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other, what have you done? The very first thing that you've done to your students. So you've told them, I don't trust you.
Yeah. Right. And maybe even I don't like you. So I need to control your behavior.
Yes. It's like this sort of terror. Yeah. I need to control you, and therefore I'm going to make sure that I have all these rules and you're going to behave, and this is important.
Yeah. This is our first day, so just don't annoy me. Here's a list of rules.
Well,
I can see that.
It's their own anxiety, right? They are afraid of not being able to control the group. Right. And as I say, with Trump, I see he's not afraid of controlling the situation. And the sort of the reason that the reason that the people respond the way that they do is he performs respecting them. And I have one more clip, the video clip, when he's in He's going to talk about the first thing he did. He said, I'm going to talk about this. I'm not going to talk about any emos, but he talks about being there. Oh, come on. My video is not working.
Darn Microsoft.
No, I did. All of the other ones worked.
I'm just going to blame them.
Come out.
There you go.
I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah. Thank you. But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God. In watching the reports over the last few days, many people say it was a providential moment.
So he said, I shouldn't be here. And the people are saying, yes, you are. I shouldn't be here. Yes, I don't belong. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You should be here.
Yeah.
It was good. And he's
Yeah.
actually theologically correct saying he's there by the grace of God. Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
But,
That's why he was very humble in that moment.
Yeah.
He said, because he said, no, I shouldn't be here. You're wrong.
yeah. Yeah.
And he was being very humble then. And he was acknowledging, I think he was acknowledging a divine intervention there.
Well, I mean, to the degree to say, yeah, and I, seen say people, he's been given a chance to do something now, and he better do it.
Right. I think he's aware of that.
But
I think he's been aware of that for a long while, though. Let's just put a punctuation mark on it. This event.
I mean, the blessings we have are by the grace of God. So, and the trials that we're given are by the grace of God. It all comes by, but it's acknowledging I didn't set this up.
Right. The acknowledgement, that's huge.
So that I love this picture of the sort of through the flags, and you can see the people in the audience, and he's there, and it's like this screams to me veil imagery. Right?
Coming I can see that.
Sorry, I'm gonna cough again. I'm gonna be very drunk by the end of this episode because I had to keep my throat. This is the first
drink my tea.
The first time in a long time I've had a cold while we're doing these. Anyway, the imagery coming out of all of this was just so intense, and some of it was designed to be that, and some of it was there in the right moment for the right reason, in the right energy.
Yeah.
And
produced very well.
Well, then I love when we put up the chart and says, "This is a chart that saved my life." As I turned to look at the chart,
and it's everywhere. Right.
Yeah, and this is a replicated chart, and it's like that's it. So.
And how weird is it that it was a chart about immigration, and one of his issues was that people are being killed.
Yes.
Illegal immigrants are coming in there and killing people, and he's nearly killed while looking at an immigration chart.
Yes, well, it's like the one of my neighbors, said, of course it was a white guy with a rifle who shot him, and I'm like, you can't see that that's a setup. It's like, okay,
no, they can't see it. They choose not to.
They want it to be proof that all of the things that has been said about Trump's supporters are true, but the point of the guy is that he's not, right? So it's
right.
like it twists itself around like so many different ways of who the shooter was, because indeed, and I saw this, I went during the speech on Facebook for reasons I don't know why, right? And I immediately saw some of my friends posting things
for punishment?
Yes, probably curiosity, that the shooter wasn't, all of the categories of things that Trump deserved to be shooting Trump, right? It was a white guy.
Sorry, would they prefer to be a black guy or a yellow guy or a red guy? I mean, what color do they prefer in their assassins?
Well, this was saying it wasn't an illegal immigrant. It wasn't an LGBT. It wasn't a woman. It wasn't, sorry.
Because that would make it better? Yeah, that's
no. I think they were saying
crazy.
We're not the hateful ones. We didn't try to shoot him, even though we should have.
Right. So it would make it better for them.
Yeah,
right?
It's better for them if it's a white guy who shoots him. Which this right. I do wonder about the choice of visible shooter. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, everything needed to be visible. All of it.
But it needed to be that young man. who has been killed. It's like, what did they tell him? That they get him out?
I don't know. I feel very bad for his parents. I feel very bad for him because I think he was psychologically abused into doing this. Do I know who did that? No, but I'm pretty sure he was abused into it.
Somehow.
It's awful.
It's awful.
Horrible.
They set him up to be shot.
This is a young
even if
man
he
who
had
has life
shot
ahead
Trump,
of him.
they would have shot him.
That's right. That's right. But even before that point, to be radicalized like that, that's abusive.
Yes.
They destroyed his mind, and then it destroyed his life. Whoever put him up to this, I'm sure somebody did.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that 20-year-olds come up with this elaborate a scheme.
No, he was ordered from Central Casting because at least he's not LGBTQ.
They were
at least
already
he's not
saying
black.
that.
At least he's not an alien. Right. So yeah, I mean, they are acting to type, which is why they cast that young man who looked like that in that part. Because that was the reaction they were expecting from their base.
Well, the thing is, I mean, the base is like this sense of, like, okay, so the base is the people that have fallen. So this is the sort of wizard spell casting, right? It's like, okay, and it's interesting that it's a chart, right? Because everybody plays with the statistics. We also need to do. It's like, somebody take notes. We also need to do a stream. So it's like fights, writers block, and statistics, right? Oh, we should actually we should get this guy William Briggs on, the statistician to the stars. He's really good. That most of the spell casting is with statistics. The sort of what's the like? Right. It's like it's always it's like these numbers are not real.
Yeah, there's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics
over
right?
and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so the probability of this and the chance of that and the such and that, it's like, one, that's gambling, and two, it's
yes,
it's an illusion of precision, which is nonsense because you usually can't be measuring the things that they claim to be measuring in the way that they are, and it's crafted storytelling just as much as a narrative. So that chart is, I mean, one, Trump is using it, right, for those reasons, but charts are rhetoric too. They're not science, they're rhetoric. That's display of an interpretation.
Yeah, can be. Can also be direct. Depends on how it's done.
No, it's all display. I mean, it's like what I do in history is also a persuasion technique, right? I'm putting together. It's like dialectic is a kind of persuasion technique.
Oh, you're saying why you put the chart together? Okay, show it to people.
Right,
gotcha.
But it's also it's just as much a narrative of maps or arguments too, right? All of these things, they're presented to people as if it's facts, right? But that's not. Facts literally are something made. Factum is something made. They're made up in the sense that they're crafted with meaning. So the difference between dialectic and rhetoric isn't that is two sides of the same coin problem of persuasion.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there he is with his charts, and they saved him. And speech, long. The New York Times morning email-y guy said it was rambling and it's personal. And I'm like, what? You get shot in the ear. And I thought his affect was actually really calm and appropriate. And
it was very appropriate at every single step, every single one. These people are mind-bogglingly delusional if they think other people are going to actually listen to this. Anybody who's not already as delusional as them is going to. Who is this going to persuade?
It has persuaded a lot of people. I mean,
no, those people already thought like that. So what they're doing is they're preaching to the choir.
Well, are we not preaching to the choir too? I mean, how many people watching us are going to be persuaded of?
I don't know who's listening.
Not sure I'm not sure which choir we have.
Well, the thing is, you can only keep talking, right? And hopefully somebody listens over the years. But the thing is, with an outlet like the New York Times, they've been using the exact same rhetoric over and over and over again for years. It's like it doesn't even matter what the topic is. They're automatically going to default to their immediate negative interpretation assigned to party X, right? And an immediate positive interpretation assigned to party Y. And that's just the way it is. But it's observable over decades. And it's not really what we do. But
no, that's not
we're
what
not
we
a
do.
newspaper.
No, you mean we as in you and me, or
You
okay.
and I, yeah, anyway, this thing. So that's not really what we do. If we had a newspaper, would we? I'd like to think no. I'd like to think it would be an actual newspaper and not journals, because there's a big difference between reporting news and journaling about the news you just saw a report about, which is mostly what people get in from news organizations. They get commentary, which we discussed last week, didn't we?
So we should sort of, make a list of all the things we're now promising to talk about. But I started by saying it's actually fine that the newspapers have particular editorial positions. Again,
If they come out and say it, yes,
somehow I need to
but they
persuade
don't.
you of the fact that all stories are biased in the sense that you cannot tell a story without a perspective.
I don't know. I have no problem with
Okay.
that. And I have no problem with the New York Times saying we support the Democrat Party, because papers used to do that. They used to
Be
come
more
out with their
blunt. Yeah,
endorsements.
be more plain.
Yeah, the
Yes.
editors would come out. People don't remember this because almost nobody reads papers anymore.
Fair.
But the editorials, the editor would come out and say, our paper is endorsing candidate X
Yeah.
or candidate Y. They would do it. They'd come right out and say it. Here's our bias. Read us if you want. And people still read them.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, because
that was
watch
okay,
it,
but
say,
that's
okay,
not what
I
they
read
do.
this and I'll get that perspective. I read this and I get that perspective.
Right. So the change now to the current day is you're a bad person
Yes.
if you follow this person right here. And we're not saying this because we're biased. We're saying this because we're
Yes.
objective.
Yes.
And how can you ignore that? How can you argue with objectivity? And if you do, you're an even worse person, right?
Yes.
It's very personal and it's very deceptive.
I was thinking, I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking about that. And it's, if we read all the analysis, there's always, we're in the internet now. It's because of this that it's all so divisive. It's blah, 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 blah. But there has been something, and I mean, some of it, is it 9/11? Is it the last like horror event that we were subjected to? Something happened when, I mean, this is the sort of weirdness of all, we know Americans, we have to be unified. And it's like the whole point of us is that we're not. We're the United States, but we're not one country in that sense, because the states didn't like each other. and the Constitution was meant to be a way of like, okay, maybe we can stick together and deal with the British, but otherwise you stay over there, right? There were supposed to be like baked in difference.
Yeah, and there were until, right, I think we've discussed this before as well, but until about mid 20th century.
Yeah.
Right, when people started moving for jobs, and there was a huge migration from the south up to the north. And it started in the 1920s because Reconstruction was not kind to the south, and there was a lot of manufacturing jobs in the north, and a lot of people moved up there to take those jobs, and that's when things started changing, I think.
It's interesting that we end up with the flyover country being the hated, the allowable hated region.
Yeah, allow that. How did that happen? How did it happen? I mean, Bill Clinton was their king, the people who thought like this, and he was from Arkansas. Right. So how did this happen?
We will consider that.
Did you just sell out really early?
We will. Right now, we're going to be happy, and the balloons are coming down, and they're gold balloons. And oh yes, I'm going to have another hat, right? Because I ordered the gold hat that Trump. Yes,
did you?
I totally ordered it. I got that, and I'm like, well,
That's funny.
no. But the thing is, in Draco Chemicus now, we're talking about like gold, and I'm reading about all of this gold for some scholarship that I'm working on the Franciscans, and I'm curious now about the gold coinage in the 13th century. And when the Trump hat gold came across my emails, it was the first Trump email I'd ever not just completely, you get them constantly, and I'm going to get them even more now that I bought the hat.
I'm sure.
These campaigns, I mean, the bots are working really hard sending out the emails, but I was like, and therefore I was suddenly in this moment of, yeah, you know, I'm going to put the bandage on my ear and the hat on my head, and I'm going to be, yes, joy, right? This, you know, the celebration of and what I like about this, the at the end when the balloons are all there and it's like the whole scene is like pixelated out, right? Talk about a great image
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
the
it
internet
was.
going and we're all watching it. I mean,
Yes.
I watched it live stream on X, you know, hat tip to
Mhm.
Elon for allowing Trump on X so that we can see
Right.
it, right? And that everybody can see it. And now, of course, Elon's throwing loads of money at Trump's campaign and such. I think, I mean, whatever has happened among the
$45
families,
million
the
a month.
families are you know, the money's going to Trump right now, which is very interesting. Politically, if we're not, we're doing this stream tonight is about image and mosaic and response and ritual and
Yeah.
visuals, right? We're not doing the politics right now. But
Eh.
there's some wild political stuff going on. Absolutely. That
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff just under the surface, and everybody can feel it. It's like tension,
oh yeah.
right?
It's
and
there.
then the first person broke out today was some politician from Utah. Goes, okay, I've changed my mind, another complete 180. I am supporting Trump
Right.
now. It's like, okay, dominoes start to fall.
No, yeah, and there's some,
Yep.
you know, it's like, okay, so this sort of, I mean, we saw this with COVID, right? It's like, and we waited and waited and waited for people to like come to their senses, you know, about the kinds of rhetoric and fear and such like that. So the social experiments of the digital age are wild, for sure.
They are. Yeah, there will be tomes written about this at a later
If
date, I'm
people still
sure.
write, who knows?
I think they will. I think type, right?
Well, I mean, one of the things that's
Yeah.
hard though, it's like I find this in writing, right? Books are a very, McLuhan wrote about this a lot. Books are a very constrained media form. And
How are they constrained?
well, you can't, I mean, all of the stuff that we're doing right now, you can't put in. You can't, they're static. They're just words. I mean, you can put pictures in them, but they require a kind of attention that's very demanding. You know, it's like moving your eyes.
Right. You're moving your different part of your brain, right?
You have to train yourself to the book, right? Just as, you know, one of the things I've noticed, maybe am I keeping my voice right to the microphone? People get practice in, they train themselves to the media, right? So we have to stare at the camera, talk to our microphone. It physically constrains us so that we can extend ourselves other ways. Books are hard to write, and some of the reason is because you're having to strip out all sorts of things, all sorts of parts of our communication signal, and have nothing but a sentence that you cannot prime anybody to hear you say. Like, I'm reading books that are written 800 years ago. I can't hear the voice of the man who wrote it. I can see his handwriting apparently in one of the manuscripts I'm looking at, but I can't hear him.
That's neat. I
can't hear him. I've never met him. I'm imagining these people literally through marks on a page.
Okay, now what additional information do you anticipate getting from somebody if you could hear his voice? Do you think you would get additional information about what he wrote just from hearing his voice?
Yes, I mean, think
Even
about
if
if we
you're
had
speaking the
just
same
the
words.
transcript of Trump's speech. I think a lot of people respond. It's like, I'm just going to, you know, Vox says that all the time, right? I'm just going to read it. But there's all sorts of
Gonna read it.
information that's coming about his engagement with the people, his pauses. I mean, one time when I was during the speech last night,
Yeah.
I'm saying he went to a little history lesson, and I suddenly noticed he was looking straight at his teleprompter very steadily.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
I'm like, he's
Yeah,
reading this history. It's
caught
like the
that.
Oregon Trail and stuff like that. And it was clearly
Yeah.
something he wasn't as comfortable riffing off of. So he just had to read the text. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I remember you caught that. That was a good
and
catch.
I only noticed it because he just kept looking in the same direction for a while, and I'm like, oh, he's reading the teleprompter, and he changed a little bit in that moment so that he was clearly reading. People complain that Trump's speeches are dumb because they only get the words, right? And that's actually a problem when we study. When I'm studying right now, Franciscan preachers, we only have like transcripts of the sometimes we only have like outlines that they worked off of. Sometimes we only have a transcript. We
Yeah.
don't know why people responded to speakers in the past.
But we know that they did. So you're right. There's something about hearing the audio visual
Yeah.
aspect of it. There's something there's more communicated just with the body and then the positioning and what I'm doing with my hands right now, for
Right.
instance. Right. There's all kinds of things going on. That iconic picture of Trump with his fist raised speaks so much. And that's what's probably scaring the crap out of his opponents, the political opponents right now. They can't stop that momentum. They
Right.
can't. That picture is too iconic. It's they whoever they are that was trying something to kill him. We're going for a different iconic type picture. They were going for a Kennedy-like picture. It didn't happen. Instead, they got their worst nightmare, right?
Yes.
Which is an unstoppable image of Trump.
And this is the rhetorical contrast. So when we do know they staged it, put Biden up in front of, is it Independence Hall? And they lit it all in red and blue.
Dark Brandon. Gosh, these people are dumb. Who is this supposed to impress?
Well, clearly the MAGA people, I guess, right? Because we like we like fascistic imagery. I don't know. It's ridiculous that they completely. So and think about that. It's like they completely misjudged. And this is our Mosaic meditation, is the effect of the visual, replication. And okay, so the Mosaic is the replication of all these images, the kids in Uganda being able to see the video, so they're enacting it, the juxtaposition of all the different pictures, so that you're catching, the Pepe's next to the Dune, next to the stupid headlines.
Yeah.
It's like, and we are, desperately all trying to put links together, as you've been saying, making this all make sense, making it and
Make it make sense. Yeah.
That is training our understanding in some ways. I think the delight of the the Pepe Sylvia conspiracy theory mode is we're constantly, we have more access to all these little pieces of information, more than any other historical events ever, because you've got all these people with cameras. Where's mine, right? It's like you got your camera, more evidence, and we still don't know what happened.
Right.
But we do know these
razzle dazzle.
we do know these icons came out of it. It's making icons of something, and I would much rather have the icon of the man who is saying, "Let's fight for our country to be joyous and grow and have babies and industry and."
Yes. Beautiful message. Loved it.
We're in this dark place because they're stealing our democracy.
Right. Yeah. Happy days are here again. It's that was Franklin Roosevelt's song, right? When he was running for president. This was way more powerful than that.
No, music is definitely. I can go back to the videos, right?
Come out.
That was just general cheering.
Welcome the next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
We get the song again. They're chanting, "We want Trump, we want Trump."
If tomorrow
Yeah.
all the things were gone, I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again. Just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Be an American, where at least I know I'm free. I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Sing it! God bless the USA.
welcome the next.
Oops, I can keep playing it because you can't hear it.
That's okay. Which song was it?
It's the Proud to Be an American.
Oh, that one again. Yeah.
And again and again, right?
Again.
And
Oh,
it's lovely.
No, I know you love the song,
Now
and it's a lovely sentiment,
again, right?
Please retire, Mr. Greenwood, and write a new one.
Well, he's not physically strong enough to sing it anymore, right?
No, I noticed that too.
It's these guys. I mean, these aging song. It's like
God love them for doing
singing
that, though.
is a physical.
Oh yeah.
It takes physical strength to do it, and
it's diaphragm and breath,
all of it.
and yeah.
And he just can't sing it as well as he could when he was younger. But I like the phrase. I'll defend her, right? Our country as the maiden to be taken care of and defended.
Right, it's the motherland.
The motherland.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mel says, "God bless the Mosaic Ark,"
and
I'm still not going to sing it.
She buttering you up?
No. So, Silent Draco saying the New York Times line of "We're correct because peasants" is breaking down and they have no backup. Yes, because we have the song, and that's why I was saying that it has to be the rhetoric has to be in the the feeling of being embodied and incarnate and alive, and we've been living too long in a world in which people want to, I don't know, it's the satanic desire just to be in control
satanic
of everything.
It's to destroy. It's anti-civilization, and it took grip a couple of years ago, and people are sick of it. And as I said earlier, this is a punctuation point. People are like, "All right, we're done." As Trump said, we can talk about it now. Now we're done. Let's fix everything now.
Amen.
Amen.
So we'll talk more about the razzle dazzle next week. And
my favorite.
So yes, we have, now that we've had our theory and now we've had our example, we will continue next week with our sort of meditation on. I do have more McLuhan here of like if we hadn't had this event with the newspaper, we were talking about understanding media with the book, right? But the now sort of what we've learned about making it explicit that this Mosaic meditation is what we're in, and we've had this example of how I mean, to a certain extent, all of us are doing it all the time because we're all trying to put together all of these pieces and thinking symbolically and thinking rhetorically and thinking in iconography, memes, right? The meme war is a Mosaic phenomenon. And the memeing response to the shooting and the sort of, you can have theater that is actually truthful in the sense that it's expressing the joy that people are experiencing or the jubilation. Trying to manufacture that when it's not there falls completely flat.
That's right. Then what we saw cannot be manufactured.
Right.
This feeling cannot be manufactured. This is a real moment.
And that to me, besides the end on this thought, that to me is the mystery of actual sovereignty and leadership. Like,
yes,
Tucker Carlson talked about how the leader is what did he say? The courage. He was talking about it being a father figure, and it's like an actual leader, someone who has this courage. But the fascination of like why someone can emerge as a political leader is saying we do respond to people whom we will follow. Leader, follower, right? And
that's right.
All of human history is filled with people trying to manufacture sovereignty when it doesn't exist. You can't manufacture it. You have to live it. You do.
Well said.
Great. Now I have to exit. Bye. We'll be back next week.
We'll be back. Back, baby.